Hello everyone, it's Michael with the World of Michael Trent, and today I want to show you how I emboss my MDF and my chipboard pieces. Last week I posted a video about two stores that sell MDF products that we went to, and I bought a whole bunch of different Christmas things, and I showed a little bit about in the store. MDF is this wood that we use a lot of boxes and stuff here. I use this with the mini albums that I make. And you can find a lot of appliques and different words, especially for Christmas. So Feliz Natal is Merry Christmas in Portuguese. And the reason we went to the store was because I was looking for this Merry Christmas that I had gotten a few weeks ago, and the store was in the process of moving, so I wasn't able to get my Merry Christmas. But I did pick up some Feliz Natal. So this is one of the cards that I have made. This is using some red embossing powder. And this is another one. This is the background papers. This is Christmas Gingham. It's a set of journaling papers from KCS Designs by Kim. I'll leave links to everything below. This is another Feliz Natal. This is from a different company. This paper is, I think, Christmas Nostalgia. Link will be below. This is another one. This is Feliz Natal. This is two pieces of MDF that I embossed in white. And this one is a little bit thicker, more bulkier Feliz Natal, different font, also embossed in white. And these make the simplest of cards ever. If you don't have MDF, you might also see a lot of chipboard. So this is basically a piece of chipboard. Chipboard is more flexible. Then you can't really bend the MDF, but you can use the same technique on chipboard or MDF. Like if you go to scrapbook.com and you type in MDF, one of the biggest brands at the moment, it's a very European thing, Stamperia, I don't know how you pronounce the name, but they have an amazing collection line of papers, and a lot of their applique and add-on pieces are made from MDF or chipboard. Chipboard also, Prima Marketing uses a lot of chipboard pieces for their paper collections. Also on scrapbook.com you can find 8.5 by 11 sheets of chipboard. Let me see if I have one here. This is not exactly true chipboard. This is kind of like recycled cardboard, but I use this in place of chipboard here. But you can die cut this with all the different dies that you have, and if you have dies, you can do a lot of crazy things with chipboard, or even SVG files you can cut chipboard with also. And this technique is super simple. All you really need is your chipboard or your MDF. You're going to need a Versamark pad. If you don't have the Versamark pad, this is a really cool product. This is put out by Wow with Seth Apter. This is an embossing brush, and basically this is, in my opinion, kind of like the refill for the Versamark, the liquid Versamark, but it comes with a brush here. So you could literally take this and brush this onto your chipboard or your MDF and use it the same way as you would use, let's say, a Versamark pad. I do think that the Versamark pad is a little bit cleaner to work with. Sometimes with this you have to wipe off a little bit of excess depending on what you're working with, but this is a great alternative. I'll leave a link for this also down below. So you'll need a Versamark, you will need some sort of embossing powder. I'm going to go with red today. I'm going to show you, we'll make a card together. I also want to say, if you love this idea, I mean, I love the idea of this kind of almost 3D kind of lettering on the front of a card. If you don't have any dies, if you don't have the MDF or chipboard, if you have dies, like this is cutting dies that say Feliz Natal, but I have Merry Christmas, you have even Happy Birthday, you can use this with Happy Birthday. What I did was I cut this Feliz Natal 6 times out of red cardstock, and then I glued the words together. And of course, the thicker the font, the easier it will be to glue. And then once I have glued them all together, I pretended as if this was a piece of MDF or chipboard, and I did the same exact thing, only I used clear embossing powder to give this shiny look because the paper was already red. I could have used a red embossing powder also, but you will get this thickness to it. I could have even gone 2 or 3 more layers to this. So this is another fun way of adding some kind of dimension to your cards, to your scrapbook paper, scrapbook pages, mini albums, tags, anything. So for me, let's see what we're going to do here. So I have here an A2 sized card. So I cut a piece of cardstock 5 1/4 across by 8 1/4, 8 1/2. I scored it at 4 1/4 to give me an A2 size card. It could either be this way or it could be this way. Because this looks better with the card the long way rather than this way, I'm going with this idea. I then printed, this is one of the Christmas gingham images from KCS Designs. I printed this and I die cut this using a 4" by 5 1/4 stitched rectangle die that pretty much everyone should have in their arsenal. I'm going to just adhere a piece of fun foam to the back. If you don't have fun foam, you can use the foam tape. Foam for me here in Brazil is such a more affordable product than foam tape. So I buy sheets of the fun foam and I use it to add dimension to my cards and to my other projects. So I'm just going to adhere that down to the back. Then I am going to adhere some glue to the back of the fun foam. You could also use double-sided tape. I do find that sometimes double-sided tape is a little difficult to remove from the back of fun foam because of what the fun foam is made out of. Okay, I'm just going to adhere this to the card front. I love this gingham paper. I think there are, I want to say 12 designs. I might be wrong, there might be more, but they come in tones of red. Like this one is more red with the poinsettias on the side. It's got a more darker tone. She has gold tones and we have the green tones here. So these are, for a background paper, amazing. If you just need a quick Christmas background paper. I'm just gonna, one thing I do like about the fun foam also, if you're using it with the glue, is you can maneuver it around until you get it in place. I'm just gonna put this on the side. I am going to place a acrylic block on top to hold it down while we continue with our fun foam. So, without chipboard. I am going to emboss this Feliz Natal. This is a piece of the MDF, okay? And what I am going to do is, you don't need to use one of these, okay? We're not using this paper. I'm just gonna take my Versamark ink pad. I am just going to push it into the MDF piece. It's the same thing if I was going to, I'll do the chipboard also, just to show you. So I'm just going to push this in here my pad needs to be re-inked, but when it's really juicy, it should also go down the sides. You could see some of the ink here. If not, sometimes I will go around the edge with my Versamark pad. I'm going to turn this over. I don't want the embossing powder to stick to the Versamark ink that's on the other side of the paper. I'm just going to cover this all with this is red geranium. Okay, Michael, let's speak a little English. This is one of Wendy Vecchi's embossing powders. If this is still made, I will, of course, link it below. I am then going to use a Tim Holtz pick to just lift this up, and then I just knock off the excess. I'm going to put this back into the embossing jar and cover it so the embossing powder doesn't go flying around. And this will be a little noisy, although this heat gun is pretty good. I'm just going to give this a few seconds to heat up. And then I'm just going to run it over the top of my MDF piece. You can see the embossing powder will start to get shiny as it's melting. It happens very quickly. You can use any heat gun. You cannot use a hair dryer. It has to be a craft heat gun. Ranger has one. Actually, to be honest with you, I don't know what brands are still around. I'm sure American Crafts has one. And you're just going to do this until you notice that all of the embossing powder has melted. Just going to put this there. Okay. You can see, I hope, how shiny this is. Okay, all the powder has melted. Now, I could just adhere this to the card front to be done, but I like to do 2 coats. So I'm going to come back in. I'm going to quickly do my Versamark pad again. Doing 2 coats gives a really nice, deep look to the MDF or the chipboard. I'm going to grab this. See, this pick comes in very handy. I'm going to add this back into the jar. And then I am just going to heat this again. It is the same procedure if you're using MDF or if you are gluing your die-cut words out together. You can do this with embossing enamel, embossing powders, glittered embossing powders would look really beautiful, especially for the holidays. This is great for happy birthday, congratulations, any of that. Okay, I'm just going to take that off. So now look at the second coat. You could see how much shinier this is. It almost looks like an enamel has been put on the front of the wording. So now I'm just going to come back in with my card. I'm going to grab some white glue. I'm just going to put some white glue on the back. Any white glue will work. You don't need anything special. You don't need wood glue. We're not building furniture here. Although you could get some furniture here made out of MDF also. The stores are amazing. It's kind of mind-blowing. The majority of things here are boxes. Boxes are used for everything, but oh my, frames, appliques for the wall, whatever. And now with Christmas, you can buy panettone boxes made out of MDF, which are super cool. And I am just going to adhere this down to my card front. I want to make sure that my letters are correctly positioned. Okay. The glue will dry clear. And then to finish this off, I'm just going to grab some enamel dots. I think I will do a little dot on top of the eye. And I think we'll do one there. 1, 2, 3. I think I'll do 2 little, whoa, where'd that one go? Of course, you're supposed to add your enamel dots and stuff in odd numbers. So we have 4 there. We'll do one more big one. Let's do there. And that's it. I kind of love the idea of this card. The inside is just a piece of white cardstock. I don't think this card needs anything else. I love the background paper. It says Happy Merry Christmas for my Brazilian folks here. Let me show you with the chipboard. Now, with chipboard, you can also, if you don't want to use embossing powder, you could also use paint on this. Now, if you're going to use paint, I think I would do one coat of like a white gesso just to seal the wood or to seal the chipboard. But you could paint this also. You could just, that would also look really good. So with this Feliz Natal, I'm just going to, chipboard is a little bit easier because it's so much thinner than the MDF. And you can see how the MDF, the chipboard gets darker because it's absorbing the, you know what, I think I'll do this one in white. So I have here, where's my white? This is white embossing powder that I picked up years ago. It's a bulk. I think I got this from Gary Berlin. So if you're ever at one of the scrapbook shows that he attends, you could probably pick this up. I'm just going to put that down here, and we're going to grab our heat gun again. And I think you could probably see how the white, as the embossing powder is melting, the white becomes so much brighter. I'm so happy the dogs are not barking. They're behaving today. It's raining here a lot, so they're probably hiding inside their house. Okay, so that is the white. I'm just going to let this cool off a little bit, but see how beautiful that is? Now, of course, this is just one coat. Whoops, it's still sticky. I will do a second coat. Okay, the stickiness is gone. We're just going to, again, push the Versamark pad or any embossing pad. It doesn't have to be Versamark. There are other brands out there. I'm going to place this in my embossing powder. Let this cover it all. Remove it. I'm going to tap off the excess. I'm going to turn this over. And then we'll do one more quick coat. Using the Tim Holtz pick also holds the piece in place while the gun does its magic. You can see this is a much darker white with the second coat. You can move it around. If you have alphabet dies, you could even die cut different alphabet letters and do each one a different color if you wanted to. Okay. And that is the second coat of the white on the Feliz Natal chipboard. And then I would just glue this down to the card front like I did the others. So that's that. I hope you guys enjoyed this quick little tutorial. I hope you guys use this idea in your card making or scrapbook page. Let me know. Leave a comment below what you think about this idea. If you've done this before, maybe, where are you watching from? Do you have chipboard or MDF in your country where you're watching from? I'd love to know. And give this a thumbs up would be great. Leaving a comment really helps the algorithm. And if you subscribe to my channel, there will be more videos coming out soon. Anyway, thank you so much, everyone, and Feliz Natal, Merry Christmas if you celebrate. I'll be back soon. Take care.